Welcome back to another edition of VCTV. I'm your host, Kyle Ellicott, and we've got a fun social episode for you today. That's right. We're going to be talking about social media, what's happening, what's not, and is there opportunities to fundraise and to build relationships with investors through social media and other efforts? Absolutely. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We've brought some of the best and the brightest from around the world to share with us their thoughts and insights on this, along with some of their experience and how they may have been contacted through social media, done deals through social media, or continue to build great relationships with founders and other investors as well to make successful opportunities in business. And with that, a big thank you, our audience, for tuning in. If you like what you hear, make sure you click that big subscribe button down there. And also, if you're an investor and you would like to be on a show like today's, joining our investor panel or others around different topics, do reach out to the team and or myself, and we'd like to find the right episode and topic for you to speak on. And entrepreneurs, we've got less than 60 days. We're in that very, very, very final sprint towards the end of the year, but really, more importantly, we're looking towards next year. There's a virtual stage here for you on VCTV for you to get up on and pitch us as investors, focus on your area to get real-time feedback on your company, product, and service, along with building foundational relationships with us as investors and founders focused on your area and industry, and to get exposure to our live audience. What could be better than that? Do reach out to the team and or myself. We'd love to find the right set for you and make sure that it's a great opportunity for you and your business. And a big thank you to the LA Token team and Maria and the entire organization for making VCTV possible every single day, multiple times a day. With that, I'm your host, Kyle Ellicott. Let's go ahead and dive in and get introducing to each and every one of our investors. Adrian, welcome to the show. Let's kick it off with you today. A little intro and a little background for everybody to start us off.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Loud and clear.
My name is Adrian Niculescu. I'm very happy to be here again. By the way, today I will be twice at this panel and in the following. I'm involved in a few projects. One of them is CloudCoin Consortium. CloudCoin is a post-blockchain digital currency, and I do communications outside of US and Canada. Also as a mentor in Virgin Startups, Richard Branson's program in UK, and as a regional director for Faster Capital in UK and Romania. By the way, have you seen Bitcoin at 15K today?
Oh, wow. All right.
Yeah. Happy to be here.
Yeah, there you go. I'll leave that for our audience to get excited about, as we did just celebrate the 12th anniversary recently around the Bitcoin white paper, which is super exciting as well. So thank you, Adrian, for mentioning that. Adam, welcome to the show. First time guest with Maria and I here on VCTV. It's an absolute pleasure. You've got a fun cast to be with today, I got to tell you. Before we get into who else is on our panel, for you, a little short introduction, a little background about yourself for the audience.
Sure. And I just want to thank you and Maria and all the hard work that I've seen you guys putting in. I think I've seen Maria's name probably come across my email inbox at least 20 to 30 times before this finally happened. So that's the key in following up there. And I was like, honestly, I've been a little bit intimidated to come on here because I'm looking at the titles and I'm like, can I really come and speak on that? And I think it just got to a point where I'm like, all right, Maria, you know what? Like, let's just do it. Let's see what happens. So my name's Adam Carswell. Hi, Grandma. I'm a real estate entrepreneur and podcast host. And as far as the real estate projects, one thing that I think will resonate with our audience here today is a company. I'm the director of marketing for libertyfund.io. And we are a single tenant, triple net lease security token real estate company. So we can talk about that today, as well as a few other things.
Wow, that's great. So you guys focus mostly on the real estate industry with Liberty Fund. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yep. We were just at the 12th annual Global Family Office Summit in Dubai a couple of weeks ago. So good times.
Very cool. Question for you as we live our digital lives here on Zoom on VCTV. Did you actually go in person or were you Zooming it up?
You caught me. No, our CEO, Michael Flight, he got to go over there and I was, as the marketing guy, coaching and doing as much as I could on my behalf here from, I'm based out of Newfoundland, Canada, but our company is based in the US. So.
Very cool. Well, welcome to the show, Adam. We're going to have a ton of fun because last but not least, we've got one of the most electrifying guests that we have here on the show. He's a grandmaster of a technology known as artificial intelligence, ladies and gentlemen. He has his own movie series, maybe a trilogy, maybe 9 parts. We don't know, but nonetheless, Gary Fowler is here in the house today, ready to talk to us about what's happening in the world.
I thought we were just going a little over the top.
I got to have fun, Gary.
We're at Mars. Well, as they say, I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. Thank you. So it's good to be here. You are my wizard, Kyle. You are the Yoda of everything. Everything. You create electricity, the spark. I'm just a conduit.
I do what I can. I hope the audience loves it. They continue to stay on after I make those silly introductions, so they seem to enjoy it. But for you, a little intro, a little background for the few that may not know.
Yeah, so I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've done 16 companies, wide variety. I have 18 companies in my portfolio today. And I actually just published an article on, I'm really interested in AI and missing and exploited children and trying to help, and also illicit trade. So I just wrote an article with a friend of mine. It's from the Department of State, actually today. So I write a lot. I've written almost 90 articles now in the last year. I am the CEO and president of GSD Venture Studios, premier AI venture studios. I also building a $100 million fund. This is the third one. This one is an impact fund focused on the Black community and bringing AI to be able to democratize opportunities. So do that. I've been in tech for over 30 years. I've done 2 unicorns. So, a lot of people talk about it. I don't know how we did it, but we did it. To really, now you look back, it's like, oh yeah, I remember we did it purposely, but honestly, it was all luck. Seriously, like when stuff happens, it's like, now you look back and say, that's unbelievable. One little tiny move, one little tiny meeting with a group in Germany, a large company that allowed us to be able to do an IPO, it changed everything. And so I understand that it's like 75% luck and 25%, tenacity and grit. So that's where I am. I love AI. I believe the world has fundamentally changed over the last 9 months. And now with this digital revolution, digital transformation, you either do or die. So, and that's why I'm here. And it's great to be here, Kyle. Like I said,
absolute pleasure to have you. And also congratulations on the recent article around 5G and its impact on business, which I'm sure we're going to get into a little later today. But welcome everybody. And Gary, that's a perfect segue as well into today's topic around social media and the opportunities of building relationships with investors and having the chance as well to do fundraising. We just got news from the SEC here in the United States that the ability to raise from non-accredited investors for companies went from just over $1 million to now $5 million. And that looks like that might get pushed up even further, but we won't go further than that right now. That's huge. We just 5x'd the amount that people can raise from unaccredited investors. But to Gary's point, one meeting, one conversation, one connection can change the entire direction for your company. And social media empowers us in a way we never have seen before its introduction into our lives. And now it's getting even bigger. And so I want to come to each of you with that being said, and hear what you're seeing around social media and this connection of building relationships. So what is the current state of social media and fundraising, whether that be crowdfunding, whether that be relationship development, et cetera? Would love to hear your experience. So Adrian, let's kick it off with you. What are you seeing as this current state? How are you seeing things develop from your side around social media and its impact around fundraising?
For the crowdfunding platforms like TrueCrowd or CrowdCube, these are or Eureka, these are the main ones I'm following. I believe that their social media following is crucial to the success in raising funds. I saw a few days ago, it was an IEO on Bitcoin.com for Atari token, and they sold out everything in less than 1 day, which was pretty cool. from a relationship perspective, I believe that most of the online pitches are done, or a big part of it are done via LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is the stage for pitching for investments or for advisory or for this part. And because the travel is still restricted, I believe that the social media is the most important way to do something.
Absolutely. I mean, look at us right now. I mean, this is part of what the evolution of social media could be considered, and how we are connecting here on VCTV and what happens as an ample effect of that. Adam, to you, same question. How are you seeing this world of social media and crowdfunding or fundraising work in your eyes?
Sure. So many things that Adrian just hit on, and then you followed up on that I just want to double click on, and hopefully I can. I wrote down like five, like, all right, here's 5 things already. So I was just on a call yesterday with someone who he kind of, and this is actually impressive. So his name is Tyler Cauble, Cauble. You guys go look up Tyler Cauble, and he has created this niche of Eastern Nashville where he's just basically the best way I can say it, dominating like. As a broker, like that area. And it's interesting how in this digital time, he's like really made this impact. And he said how he closed a $6 or $10 million deal like a couple of weeks ago. And the relationship started with someone DMing him on Instagram. And I was like, wow, okay. I mean, I've kind of heard stories like that, but to actually be like on a conversation with someone who could actually say that, I'm like, all right, well, here's one thing. 2, as you said, Kyle, we're in this Zoom meeting now going live across the world. This was like kind of normal before the virus, but now it's just like this you turn on TV, you even see like I look at ESPN and stuff now and all that, and like everything is being filmed on like everyone's webcams. Like this is like industry standard how we are. Thankfully for us, this is just normal, but we all of a sudden are now like in this realm where all 3 of us could be, you know, kind of considered celebrities or whatever you want. So that just shows the reach of this time that we're in and where we're at. I look at the relationship building aspect. Also, again, with Zoom kind of being the staple. In March, I'm a part of a mastermind, the Next Level Mastermind. And I just look at, you know, we have 18 of North America's top commercial real estate professionals in this group. And it ranges from Mexico to US to where I'm at here in Newfoundland. And we've all over the past 9 months become like best friends, and we still haven't even met face to face yet. And there's so much, you know, potential and equity and just things locked up in that group that came together during this time. And so I don't know like what the specific answer is for anyone listening right now, but if you can kind of just take bits and pieces from what we're talking about here, I think it can really, you know, take your life to the next level. And then there's also, I'm just going to throw this out there in case we have time to circle back to it. Myself and another mentor business partner of mine, Hunter Thompson, we teach a course on basically how to become a commercial real estate syndicator and or better passive investor. So, and that's just been a tremendous experience throughout this past 9 months as well.
Absolutely. And you're bringing up absolutely foundational points. I mean, this first off, on the instant message, we've had other investors speak here on VCTV, including myself and Gary, around that, you know, one reach out, that one connection, that one, you know, random message, and how right now you can connect to almost anybody and anywhere in the world, which is phenomenal. But also, you know, being able to connect like this on a regular basis creates a different type of bond. We were mentioning actually yesterday on VCTV how the relationships, Jean Paulo, one of our guests, mentioned actually how these relationships that we're building now during 2020, to talk about that on a specific scale, may actually be more foundational than we believe, because of the amount of time we spend together, and how when we are able to reconnect in the physical form, that those bonds won't change. They'll just continue as naturally accepted. And this is something I know Gary has commented on as well. As you know, here at VCTV, we are very much a family, but also, you know, we get the chance to have these types of conversations regularly. And if it hadn't been for this and this change and progression in social media, some of us may never have met. And it is pretty cool that that's happened. So Gary, I kind of took some words out of your mouth, but I'll let you tell us your side as well as what you're seeing around this.
Well, I mean, so look at it. It's like, I'm a clinical psychologist too, Kyle. I don't know if I ever told you that, but look at where we are today, right? There was a book called Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. And part of what we need to do is connect. We need to connect. We need to feel that closeness. We also need trust. This week earlier, I had Thilo Banal. I think I met him on VCTV, actually one of the top PR persons from Europe on my show. And so he works with, name brands from Silicon Valley, top. Anyhow, we had interesting discussion and, think of where we are today. So 9 months ago, we didn't really think about how powerful, at least many of us didn't think how really powerful using social media can be combined with all the other speaking engagements, et cetera, which we can't do in front of people anymore. Used to be, I would fly to Germany, to Bonn, to Cologne. I would fly to London and do presentations, but that doesn't exist anymore. But now we can be much more efficient. The other key is, if you look at it, I mean, as you're building your own personal brand up in the trust and spreading your wings, there's other people that, if we don't do this, we die, right? The companies are not going to go forward. There's no other way. You can't go out to lunch at Hobie's, as I've said many times, or Sundance, a restaurant on El Camino Real in Palo Alto, because you just can't get there and people don't want to go out. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't happen. So now, or go to the health club, the Bay Club, it's just, you can't go in to have those relationships. So now the situation is developing. So what do we need to do? You need to take your brand and you got to make very sure that you're using it wisely. I personally have used LinkedIn. I've connected with the CEO of Cisco, Eric from Zoom. I mean, lots and lots. 4-star admirals, vice chairman's chief of staff kind of people. But I've used LinkedIn. But the thing is, you got to make sure your entire profile across all media stands out. So you've got the credibility, articles, speaking engagements, because they check every time. They're not going to connect with you unless they feel comfortable. They don't want to make sure that there's not some scam going on from someplace. They want to make sure you're real. So your profile has to support it all. It's not just one venue, it's everywhere. And especially if they Google search your name, you got to make sure you're coming up at the top and you have the credibility. So it's important. We need to go down through, choose your platform wisely. Where are you going to be? Whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook, you need to make, a lot of the connections like ours, Kyle, we started on LinkedIn and migrated over to Facebook. So you go from these business type relationships to more personal. Unfortunately, you can only get 5,000 people on Facebook. So sometimes people get a little pissed off. They can't connect with you. And you've got to filter your relationships, if you know what I mean, to see who you're not talking to and put somebody in place. The other thing is you got to make sure you've got materials. If you're going to do this, make sure you have shareable materials so people can look at them and understand. So if you got a deck, make sure it's a shareable deck that they can look at. Make sure that, you're actually, when you go out, you have people pushing your message too, like we do, right? We share each other's information. I share VCTV. I mean, the thing is, you got to each use the power of the network to be able to get the word out. So, and then be looked at as a recognized expert. You got to position yourself as an expert in whatever area that is. You got to make sure you are looked at, as Adam was saying, and Adrian, as a recognized worldwide expert in that particular topic. So, and again, each one of, so whether it's Twitter, Facebook, wherever you are, it's got to support that message. And make sure, I will tell you one thing, it's very, very important. One time, somebody convinced me to take a champagne bottle and pose like I was drinking it and like I was running and drinking it. It got posted on the internet and it went viral. And I'll never, ever do that again. Never, ever have compromising pictures. Make sure that you're very aware of what you're doing. And because you never know when that picture is going to show up. And mine did. And it was, the bottle wasn't even open, but it looked like I was running and drinking because I was having fun. So be careful. No compromising pictures.
I mean, you bring up so many good points, and one of them I want to touch on to each of you is around fatigue. So with all these different platforms, with all these different conversations, it's easy as investors and entrepreneurs, so all of us, to get fatigued from all the inbound messaging. So how do you manage as an investor the inbound? How do things, and really when it comes down to this, is how do people stand out to you? So if you're looking through your inbox or your DMs, your direct messages, how can people stand out above the rest if they're reaching out to connect with you? Because it's great, loving this world. And Gary, I mean, so many hearts. I'll even put it up on the screen here of all what you said, and definitely echo it. But going forward, thank you, Adam. But going forward, as we look at how this world is going to be changed and how we're going to be using social media, thank you, Gary, in a more evolving way, how can we see through the noise, right? How can we make sure that we're able to build these true connections when so much comes in?
Kyle, it's the same as if you meet somebody in person. You have a trusted friend who you respect that does an introduction. It makes it a whole lot easier, right? Somebody that's trusted. One of the guy that works for me, Augusto, wrote the book Business as a Contact Sport, best-selling book, and he's my chief strategy officer. Look at it. It's very simple. If somebody comes in that you know that gives you a recommendation, they say you should talk to this person, you do. And if they don't, I had one of the Chinese billionaires who's a friend of mine introduced me to one of the wealthiest persons in China. And it did it because he said, oh, I sit on their board. Let me get them on the phone. So I couldn't believe it. I'm on the phone, well, actually on a Zoom call with both of them. I thought this is the craziest thing that I've ever seen, but it's only because my friend did the introduction. So use trusted contacts to get an intro. If not, I have a chief of staff that works for me, and she ferrets through a lot of the noise to make sure that, because, we talk about it. We're inundated with information. How many emails do you get every day? Hundreds, right? And if you don't look at your email for one day, for 4 hours, you can't even go to the end of them. There's not enough time. Then you got Slack, then you got Messenger, then you got WhatsApp, right? Then you got, how many data sources, like repository? Most people have about 20 that they don't even know about, by the way. Right. They don't think about it. So
it's crazy.
It is crazy. And that's another thing that's going to happen. We had a tool, a Google search for the personal cloud we invented for mail, Google Drive, Dropbox box, so you could figure out where your stuff is. Listen, those tools, these intelligent, not smart assistants, are going to be critically important for each and every one of us, because you can go out on the social network, but if you go out and you can't respond because you're inundated, it's a big problem. So why not have an intelligent assistant that can pull all these data sources and help you make sense of what you got?
Absolutely. And I want to come back to artificial intelligence for just a moment. But before I do, Adam, you focus on this with Hunter and some of the others that you've mentioned, and I'm familiar with Hunter as well. You guys do a great job at what you do.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Shameless promotion. You guys do a great job. But in terms of social media and furthering on the conversation with Gary here, how are you guys handling this? You guys do so much with communities. How do you make sure that you don't get fatigue, and also for entrepreneurs that they can get to you through all this process, because it can be difficult?
Yes, kind of sifting through the noise it does become a challenge. And I think one thing that we do that helps a lot at ASIM is, and this isn't necessarily my inbox, but this is, once anyone listening, you're kind of at the level at which Hunter is performing, like our executive assistant will go through his inbox and basically filter out, like, she knows what to look for, what is important for him to see and what's not important for him to see. And that's kind of like, as Gary was saying, we're probably gonna have AI eventually to do that task. But I know that's one thing that helps a lot on our end for productivity. And then as far as just knowing I think I would give advice for anyone listening who's someone who's sending a bunch of messages to someone's inbox. I'm not going to come on here and say that that's wrong. You shouldn't do that, because I'm sure that does work for some folks. I'm not someone who does it, but what does work, what does stand out is really if you figure out a way to deliver the message right. And the example I'll use, this wasn't like a LinkedIn inbox, but you guys, I don't know how I ended up on your email list, but all of a sudden I started getting emails from Maria, and I noticed in the email, it said that I could unsubscribe or whatever. But whoever this lady is she's approaching me as if I'm like someone special, as if I'm someone important, as if I'm someone who can come on here and like speak. And because of that, I was like, all right, well, I'm not going to unsubscribe from this. I'm going to keep an eye. I'm going to check it out. And I went and looked, and I saw you guys get, enough views to be like, okay, this isn't like, this is not a waste. Like there's something here. And so for anyone who's, I guess, on the outbound side of things, take a look at what Kyle and these guys are doing, and maybe you should interview them and ask for some strategies on how to actually get on the phone with someone, because I think that worked for me. That stood out to me, and that is a way that you can kind of stand out. As far as and then again, just as far as like looking through my inbox personally, I know if someone ever sends me specifically on LinkedIn like a PDF or a link to something or a schedule a call, I don't know you, I don't have time for it. And also, if you are the first time you reach out to someone, especially on LinkedIn, with a link that says schedule a call, basically what you're saying to them is that your time is not that valuable because you're just spraying and praying. So just remember that.
That's an absolutely phenomenal point. And also big shout out to Maria and to the entire team for all that they do furthering on that. Definitely awesome efforts. And thank you, Adam, as well. And one thing I will add, Adrian, before I come to you, is also context. So for me, it's all about context. What prompted you to reach out? Where did you hear? Where did you see? What's the context of why we're beginning this conversation? And then from there, let's see how it develops, because it is tough to be flooded with messages. It's also a very big blessing, but also having that pieces of context, right? VCTV, this, that, whatever it may be, will also help as well. So if you are reaching out to any of us or other investors, entrepreneurs, make sure you have that context. I can't stress it enough. Even if it's a cold reach out, as Gary mentioned, to some of the top names in the world, doesn't matter. Add that piece of context, because it can change the game and it can highlight something that people pay attention to quickly answer as well. Adrian, to you, how do you sift through all the noise on your side? Nope. I think we may have lost Adrian. So Gary, I want to come back to you around artificial intelligence. How does AI, or how will AI, pardon me, play a role in this? I know you've actually made some big efforts in terms of products and development around this, but talk to us a little bit about this. Where does AI play a role?
I can tell you about the technology. I mean, we already invented it, right? So what we did is we created a tool, an AI tool that allows you to be able to go through all your email, Dropbox, Google Drive, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, Slack, etc., and consolidate it and then make decisions on it, and to be able to actually tell you what's important and what you should look at. So it's kind of like your intelligent personal assistant, not smart, but intelligent. And so understanding what kind of patterns you have, what kind of things are important, and also reminding you if you have a meeting, right? If somebody sends you an email and says, I want to set up a call, and you haven't scheduled it yet, do that. The challenge, if you have, Kyle, I can tell you directly. So the technology works beautifully. The problem is, the big part is people do not remember their passwords. They don't. So, and then they don't remember the passwords and they don't want to admit it. So I've had the CEO of a Fortune 10 company. I had a direct conversation with him. He said, very frankly, I said, what do you do? He said, it's very simple. So if I get an email, so 2 years ago, I decided anything older than 2 years, I don't need it anymore. So I just get rid of it. And he said, then a year ago, almost a year, it was 1 year. 6 months ago, it was 6 months worth, whatever's older than 6 months. And I said, I couldn't believe it. Now, this is I don't want to be too specific because you'll figure out who it is. But so I said to him, I said, what if it's important? He said, Gary, if it's that important, they'll send it to me again. And I'm like, God, I couldn't believe it. But the problem is we're back at that state. I talk about infobesity. Each one of us has about 300,000 items in the personal cloud. The number doubles every year. The entire web in 1996 was 257,000 websites. Your personal cloud is bigger than that. In 5 years, it's going to be 10 million items. How in the world? Think about it now. How many times every week do you say, I think I got something for that person, but I don't know where it is. I don't know if it's in WhatsApp. I don't know Messenger, Viber. I don't know. And you've also, so one is we forget the location, but the other is the keywords. How about an email? If you misspell it, it doesn't come up. What if somebody makes a mistake and spells something wrong? Or you say, so what we did with our technology, I could actually say, remember the person I met in Boston 6 months ago, and my AI would go out and find the person from Boston, look at the ontology, the relationships, and find the person and bring in all their PowerPoint presentation. Where's the PowerPoint presentation from the person from Boston? I'm not sure of their name. I think it was John, but it could have been something else. And it searched. Those are the kind of technologies. But the problem is we're so lazy, we don't remember passwords. And we're afraid to give them to people because if they have them, they can get all our information. So we got a paradox, right?
Yeah, which is tough. I mean, it's a tough call. I mean, on your side, Adam, furthering that point, I mean, are you seeing any other technologies like artificial intelligence or others that are playing a very big, powerful role in terms of social media, crowdfunding, and the like from your efforts as well?
You know, I wish I could. I'm just really intrigued by what Gary has to say, because this AI sounds like, you know, I want to know, as far as I know, there's really no one in our industry. And now commercial real estate tends to be slower to adopt these new technologies. But I haven't heard of anyone using like technology at that level yet, but it sounds ideal. It's one of those things where it sounds too good to be true. Like, I want to learn more about that specific. What's the name of the app or the platform, Gary?
We created, it's a company I co-founded. It's called Findo. It's not changed to Yva, YVA, because I got a lot of customers. Here's the other thing, Adam. I got 157,000 customers, but because Google gives things for free and people don't understand they really pay because they're, you know, using their information, nobody wanted to pay for it. So we have it, right? We morphed it into Yva, which is one of the top 10 AI HR tech companies, but people didn't want to pay. They think things are free. When you use Google and search, what do you think Google does? I mean, nothing's free. What do you think Facebook is? It's not a free platform, right?
And so is the way it works is it aggregates data from all, for example, applications they use.
All your repositories. It can scan your email. So it's like an executive assistant. It scans it. It understands how important that person is based on ontology and relationships to you. It flags it that you should read it. It looks down through and says what's important, what dates are important here. Maybe you missed a meeting, you know, because if you're like me, I get hundreds of email every day, and everywhere. It could be Messenger. It scans them all to see if they're dates, meetings, and it starts to say you might want to check this out.
Sorry if I turn this into a sales pitch, Kyle. I had to ask.
No. Look, I mean, Gary has been working on some outstanding technology. That's part of the reason why I wanted to bring that up, because to his point that this stuff is pretty transformative. If you look at the technical developments in social media and where things are going and where to start placing your bets, it is having artificial intelligence and learning engines, we'll just say that, around how things are being used, how to make them more efficient, how to use certain inputs and actions or behaviors to make them better. And then we get down to the data layer, which I don't want to get too deep into the weeds around because I know there's some sensitivity, but leveraging pieces of that data to better the interaction, to better the behavior. I mean, this can change everything. And whether it's social or it's just, again, something that we are looking at as social media, right? Some people would not say that Zoom is social media. Guess what? In our lives here at VCTV, it's very much social media. It's how we connect with great people. However, again, some people may not see that, right? Social media may be just in relevancy to Facebook and Instagram and the others. But then, as Gary mentioned, and so did you and Adrian, you know, you've got WhatsApp, you got Viber, you got 20 other different chat messages. Each of those in its own respect are a social media platform because they connect people together. Now, with that being said, I do want to switch gears real quick and talk about the areas of opportunity and where people should be focusing on things around social media and around fundraising going into the next year, going into 2021. Where should we be thinking about placing our bets as investors? But then as founders, where should we be paying attention to of gaps or areas of opportunities to start developing in this new world as well. So Adam, I'm going to come to you last on this one. Adrian, for you, areas of opportunity, where should investors be paying attention to start investing around social media and crowdfunding in that intersection, or vice versa on either side? And then also founders to be building.
First, because I was kicked out twice, I wanted to say something which is a gap in this market. We know that some of the accounts are managed by virtual assistants, but lately on LinkedIn, I received a message from a coach, and the message was like that: "I'm Livia, the assistant of." So it's like I'm on a newsletter list because I'm on LinkedIn, and also I received a Facebook message on Facebook Messenger saying, "I'm Carl from the customer service of this guy." So I said, "Come on." The gaps here and are filled right now slowly are the new platforms where, at least in theory, your personal data is protected, because the giants among us, they use like crazy our personal data. I don't have any problem with that, but the blockchain-based startups like the new YouTube or new search engines, at least in theory, they say that they are protecting your data. And will be a lot of opportunities in this space. So the monopoly of the big companies, at least until a certain point, will be disrupted. We'll see how much. This is what I'm saying.
Absolutely. So Adam, actually, I want to switch gears over to you a little bit on that. What are you seeing as areas of opportunity or gaps that need to be filled? So opportunities for people to invest in, and then gaps for people to start building in.
Okay, so I think with we'll start with gaps. One thing that I've definitely feel like I've noticed lately, and I just made a video on this yesterday too, is I think companies, if they're not already, and individuals really, because individuals are basically becoming their own companies now too. If you don't have a presence, like just a heartbeat on TikTok, I highly recommend it. I know TikTok faced a lot of, whatever you want to call it, publicity, whether you consider it good or bad. Like they basically got free marketing for a few months there, and now they've kind of pushed through. I saw a TikTok commercial on TV the other day. I'm like, all right, that's a first. And the main reason why I want to just highlight in TikTok and say that people should be investing their time there as creators or as business owners, entrepreneurs, is because it's totally, from what I can see, dominated. Like their consumers are mostly between the ages of like 10 and 24. And not only are they consuming it, like they love that platform, those users. And, it's all a matter of time. But if you want to invest in the future of your business, that's who you want to target. Like, even if it is like a security token blockchain company, maybe a 13-year-old has no idea what that is. If you have a cool TikTok channel or just like, again, a heartbeat, who knows, 12 years from now, Jimmy, who used to be following you then, could be investing with you. And so I think that's also been an approach with Instagram. Instagram's kind of been, people have started to realize this, I'd say, over the past 4 to 5 years now. But for a while, it was like, all right, that's for all the kids. And now we're seeing like, again, commercial real estate professionals, business owners, like everyone's getting a heartbeat and a pulse on Instagram. So I think like the next level, if you don't have even like the TikTok app, I would just start with that. Like just download the app, because you'll see, like, I just don't know how to explain it other than there's something there that I think needs to be paid attention to, especially because of how much of the youth are spending their time on it. And then opportunity, I'm going to go to, and this is probably something we talk about a lot here on VC TV, but blockchain, like it's just simple education and understanding the fundamentals of how this technology works. I think if you invest a significant portion of your time between now and say the next 3 to 5 years, at that point in time, if you kind of know your stuff with blockchain, you could very well be considered an industry expert. We host, from the guys and I over at Liberty Fund, we host the Chicago Blockchain Real Estate Collective. I know that's a mouthful. Chicago Blockchain Real Estate Collective. Go look it up on meetup.com. We have a meetup once a month, guys. Would love to have you there. But it's just been a blast. And it's like, you know what? If we keep doing this, people are going to like, we're going to be experts. So I think that's where the opportunity and the gaps are that I'm seeing right now.
Yeah, I mean, more platforms, repeatability, you're calling it out, right? And that connection, right? Getting out there, building those relationships. Gary, to you, what are you seeing as, again, opportunities and gaps?
You know, like we said, I agree, you know, with Adam in terms of where we are today. We've got, you are your personal brand, right? It's not just about your company, it's about building your brand, and your brand sells the company. So you got to go out, you know, it's worth for the startups. I mean, sometimes I had this discussion on Tuesday with Tilo. It's, you know, it's worth going out and getting somebody that's got PR expertise to be able to at least give you some initial guidance to be able to help your company move in the right direction, because that difference could be the difference between success and failure. So we can't forget. I mean, if you don't know how to do it, it's great. You can set up your TikTok account. And of course, you got LinkedIn and Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. But I would actually, it's worth it because the impact is so huge, you know, so powerful that you want to get some professional guidance. And the other thing is you got to write. You got to go out and write articles and be looked at as an expert in the area, because you're not going to get the attention unless somebody, you know, understands that your word, it can actually guide them, that you're, you know, senior to what they think about whatever the topic is. So go out and publish. Think about, you know, if you can't write, get an editor. They're going to get down through and edit your documents for you, but you got to do it. You got to speak. You got to go out, just like Adam says in Chicago with his, you got to go out. It doesn't matter if you're in Newfoundland or Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. It only matters if we get the word out. We've now democratized the opportunity. You know, this morning I was on a call with Kenya, and it doesn't really matter. I mean, I actually now I'm like, where are you? I can't tell from the backgrounds where somebody is anymore because they got a swimming pool and they're in freaking Newfoundland, you know, in the winter.
Which would be definitely deceptive because it's about 2 degrees right now.
Yeah, exactly. And so what we got to do, but it's, you got to come up with your strategy. It's really important for you. So it's one thing to get out on social media and fundraise, but you need to have a strategy behind what you're doing. You don't want to just do the shotgun and go out, because the other thing is you got to make sure you craft your messages based on where the company wants to go. And you can't just throw BS out there and expect it to work. And then what if you change your message in 3 months from now? And now it's, you know, you go from B2C to B2B, and people see all this B2C up there. They're going, it's confusing. So you got to make sure that you've got a strategy and it's aligned with where the company wants to go. You know, it's got to be like a symphony orchestra. Everything's got to be harmonious and work together. And sometimes people don't think about it. And like I said, make sure that, you know, you're going to be, it's like Mark Zuckerberg, what he was on the top of the house in Palo Alto, and they were jumping in the swimming pool on one of those zip lines. I mean, those kind of things, you got to just watch what you do as a young company, because it can back to haunt you quickly, right? So make sure that everything is aligned. Keep a professional image. You can have fun, but keep it professional.
And Gary, to your point, I decided to show you where I'm truly at. You know, I had a filter on before, but this is where I truly am, just so you know where I am. As I'm
He's
talking,
in the Caribbean.
I'm sitting on the beach, but you know, all jokes aside, I truly agree. And just keeping that flow of communication, keeping that flow of honesty and trust and professionalism. There you go. It's just so incredibly important. And with that, gentlemen, we're coming close to the top of the hour. So I do want to come to each of you for some closing thoughts. Anything else you'd like to get out there for individuals to know about the future of this world of fundraising and leveraging social media to build your brand, to build your company, and also to reach out to future investors and partners and advisors and the like as well. And then also, Adam, as we do here on each show, we do like to give everyone a chance to give a shout out as to where they can be found online, and also some great access to their companies as well. So Adrian, to you, let's kick it off. Closing thoughts in terms of where you see things going from here. And then, of course, where can everyone find you online?
As said before, I see a huge potential in the new platforms which will disrupt the monopoly of the current giants. And What Adam mentioned, by the way, my daughters have like 9,000 followers on TikTok. I have about 20 or 30, but I will boost in the following days.
So they're creating
to
content. I'd be
there's
curious
a,
to see what they're doing.
yeah, it's like crazy. It's a Sarah Eileen world. From my two big daughters, Sarah Eileen, and there is a small one, Ivy, but the concept was created before, so I will put here.
Okay.
And we supported two different presidents for the elections, so you can imagine what craziness
so Adrian, Adrian, where can everyone find you online? I just
and on LinkedIn. On LinkedIn is the main hub for the communication related to investments and startups. Adrian Niculescu, you can find me there. I'm happy to help whenever I can. Thank you very much for having me.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Adrian. Adam, to you, any closing thoughts? And then, of course, where can everyone find you online? And then also some of this exciting stuff that you're working on, whether it be the meetup or the company as well.
Sure. So yeah, closing remarks. One thing I think that always helps a ton, and I'm always working on refining this, guys. If you haven't defined who your avatar is, I've put a ton of just research. First of all, the concept, your avatar, that's like, as again, business owner, entrepreneur, thought leader, who is it that's listening to your message? The more you can refine and identify that specific individual, the more everything starts to come together. I think that's the best way I could say it. So defining your avatar, that's one thing that I think Gary mentioned, something that made me think about that. So just want to highlight that. I think there's also a lot of opportunity coming up in webinars and webinar production over the past, I'd say 4 months. I've done about 20 to 30 of them, and they've been a blast. And I just have to say, if anyone's interested in learning more about how to put together a nice 45-minute webinar, I might not be the best in the world, but I've got a few under my belt. And actually someone like Kyle would be great too. I bet you could reach out and ask him it all comes down to how well can you facilitate a Zoom meeting. That's how you put together a good webinar. So I think there's a lot of opportunity there, and that's something I'm very passionate about. So if you guys want to talk webinars, I'm your guy. And then, I think last but not least, the best way to get in touch with me is my website, Carswell, which is my last name, .io. And on carswell.io, it's got links and connections to pretty much everything we talked about here today. So you can basically connect with me on whatever platform you prefer, and we can take it from there.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Adam. And thank you for the kind words as well. Last but not least, Gary, closing thoughts, where can everyone find you online?
Yeah, so the couple of things. One is you need to build a strategy. Two is, you need to go down through and run as fast as you possibly can. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity. This pandemic has created a digital transformation. Run as fast as you can now and get ahead of the competition. Build trust throughout your network and use your network. Build a trusted network and be able to have your network to be able to carry the message out for you. And it's a two-way street. Everybody's got to win. And remember, you meet the same person going up as you do coming down. So always treat people the right way and treat them the way you want to be treated, because you never know where that person's going to be in life.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more with all those points. And, go build a strategy, go fast, and also just define what your avatar, who your avatar is. That was an awesome point there, Adam. Thank you for sharing that with us. And all of you, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and insights. And to your audience, thank you so much for tuning in. If you like what you heard, click subscribe. Do give us a thumbs up. And also make sure you reach out. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Adrian. To each and every one of our investors on today's panel. Remember, add context, where you met them, what you heard them speak about, and how you would like to connect further with them as well. But if you'd like to be on a show like today, like our investors, do reach out. We'd love to find the right industry, topic, or technology and region around the world for you to speak about. Entrepreneurs, there's a place for you here at VCTV, and we'd love to have you share your thoughts and insights, but also your company, what you're building, what you are developing to get real-time feedback, build foundational relationships with us as investors and founders, also get great exposure to our live audience. And a huge thank you to the LA Token team and to Maria for all that they do to make VCTV possible every single day, multiple times a day. With that, again, do reach out to all of our investors. You can find me at Kyle Ellicott on all social medias. We'll be back here with more VCTV in just a little bit. Everyone take care and have a wonderful day. Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.